We are still inside the main market, patrolling through the market to identify potential threats so that we'll be able to deal with it and prevent it from becoming a full-blown fire. So we are patrolling inside with the help of the security men inside the market. We are patrolling inside to identify any threat, and in case there's any threat, the competent officers here will be able to deal with it so that it doesn't become a fully blown or developed.
Are you an officer? I'm coming to surprise you, but my mind told me
So officers are embarking on night patrols within the Usu market, Usu night market.
You can see them we're in sync, right?
So this is how the night market looks. It would be a shame if any fire should wipe off this area. So we are being proactive and preventive.
Are your business? Are you going How many men?
And he's choosing prophets. You heard what I just said. Have you seen the coconut head? Pencil head, cardboard paper head, and the paper head.
Are you an officer? I'm coming to surprise you, but my mind told me
So officers are embarking. Hi. So welcome back. And as you've seen in the video, we don't just talk, we walk the talk. And we have officers who are committed. Apart from just walking through the market, they identify hazards and then they are able to help salvage a situation before it develops into a full-blown fire. So I'm still here with my madam, Madam DCFO, Agri Jansen, who asked me to dissect the issue, and my boss, Dio Aka. We've had a very insightful conversation about how the public even perceives this initiative and how the public or the market folks themselves have welcomed or otherwise of this initiative. Madam, so since I said welcome or otherwise, let me go to the otherwise. That's the challenge. What has been the challenge? Logistical, personnel-wise? Share with us some of the challenges.
Well, out of challenges comes opportunities.
Exactly.
So, I am one person who actually like challenges because it pushes you for you to come out with your best. I know it is not so pleasant being outside there for 24 hours. The stress, the walking, but what I would say is that keep on doing your best and let fire service have a good brand image of its organization, because not only does it affect the service, that brand image affects you as an individual. Yes, you may be challenged with fuel and other things. When it comes to accoutrements, you have been supplied. You use what you have to do it. The fuel, we thank the chief officer who is always supporting us when it comes to the fuel matters and other things that comes up along the line. We appreciate the regional commanders of what they are doing, ensuring that their vehicles are always in commission to perform these tasks. We know it is difficult, but then what I would say is that do your best. And at the end of the day, the best would bring you the needed reward and the needed opportunities that you need to meet. But once you are challenged with the fuel, because you don't stand at one place, you'll be moving up and down. So in the midst of all this, that is when the fuel will be running. But let us still continue falling on management, and that aspect is always so.
As a service, we can do more apart from the patrol. Apart from this patrol, what more can we do to boost the confidence of the public in our operations and initiatives like this?
Well, we have to kind of reach out to them more to kind of let them understand what we do, because many a times it's because the public do not understand us in terms of our modus operandi. They find it very difficult to cooperate and then give us the needed support. So for us, I would want to still recommend that we'll reach out to them more, educate them more, because I've realized that per where I sit, there are lots of things that the Ghanaian populace must be known, must be told, or must be educated on as far as fire safety is concerned. So the more we engage them, the more we also make things a bit more practical, the more we are able to bring to their fore the many things that they do that create these fire conditions. I believe it will go a long way for them to appreciate what we do, and so as to be able to enable them to also put in the kind of measures that they ought to do to prevent these fires. So for me, going forward, I think the engagement has to be more, and management is ever ready. What I also think that we can also do is to kind of build the capacity of our people, so as to be able to deliver the gospel according to fire safety in the best, simplest, practical terms, so as to make sense to the ordinary Ghanaian, because we know the illiteracy rate is very high in this country, and therefore we cannot be doing the same thing and be expecting a different kind of result. So once we build the capacity of our people, so as to be able to empower them to present the message in the very simplest form for the understanding of the ordinary citizen, I think it will go a long way to change mindsets, and that will also lead to change of attitude, and that would ultimately lead to the preventative measures that we all want to see. So going forward, we need to. And then there's this thing that we can also do, but this time around, I think this one has to do with the assemblies also helping us, because many a times the public have had issues with us not being able to respond to their emergency calls on time. And for most of the reasons, it is not our fault. It's because we are not too close to the various communities, and sometimes when the incident happened, depending on proximity of the nearest fire station, we have to travel a bit of distance, and that could also lead to some kind of delays depending on other factors such as traffic, non-availability of the fire truck. If the fire mission, it becomes very difficult. But to a larger extent, if the assemblies can put up these fire stations closer to the communities, especially if we are even within Accra here, if we are able to get stations around Achimota, around La Paz, around Tesano area, it will help greatly to reduce the travel distances that we would have to do when commuting from, let's say, from the headquarters here to a place like Achimota. So going forward, when that is done, and then we have stations closer to the communities, we have stations closer to the people, and then we have functional fire tenders. That is where we'll be able to meet their emergency and response expectation. So once we are able to do that, then they also, the confidence in us would also be up. But notwithstanding, I believe that to a larger extent, maybe within the short to medium term, what we can do is to engage them constantly and to give them contemporary fire safety prevention education in the simplest form, where even a 6-year-old child could even understand and make meaning out of it. By so doing, we'll be able to prevent these fires from occurring.
Yes, madam. Madam, and something you want to add up?
Yes.
Yes, please.
What I would also add is our behaviors. Let us not be like children to wait for it to happen before we learn from the hardest way. We have gone through some experiences with people. So based on what has happened to others can inform our education. So as we speak, we have a role to play. You also have a role to play. When the message comes, please, we are asking that receive it and adapt to it. Don't wait for it to happen to you before you learn your lessons. When you look at the number of markets we have in Ghana, there are only some few, not even up to 20%, that have provided far posts within the market. If we have far posts in the market, I believe that would also go a long way to also help us, because we are there with you. We move around. We see the things that you are not seeing with your eyes, because you may not have the fire eye, but the fireman would have that fire eye to see the unwanted. But these ones, fast service cannot provide it. It beholds on opinion leaders, the market leaders, the market authorities to help us in these lines. We know that you need to pay your workers at the end of the month, and it is this taxes that pays them. We know it is the lease of stores that gives you something at the end of the period. But we are also appealing that it is equally important for us to be closer to the hazards, so that when it happens in the market, because we are there with you quickly, it is addressed. Sometimes you have closed, you are gone, you don't know what is behind you. But because we are there, we can step in to solve problems before they even get out of hand. And my appeal today, even though it's a challenge, but I believe something can be done. When we close from our shops, let us try and put off the gadgets in our shops. We went somewhere, for instance, you could see the lights left on. You could hear radio speaking in. Another place you could hear the TV on. Meanwhile, the person is closed, is gone. So if there is any unwanted thing, who is there to off these gadgets for you? And when you leave the bulbs for these long hours and they get overheated, it is so worrisome. So what I did was that the next day I went back to the market very early in the morning, just for me to have an idea of how the shop is being packed. And beneath the bulb, you can see sugar, you can see rice, you can see this takeaway pack. And these are easily combustible materials. So should the bulb get overheated, falls on these things, the unwanted happens. So please, we are appealing to owners of the shop, our mothers and fathers who are doing some sale in the market. Please help Ghana National Fire Service, help electricity company, because whilst you put off this energy, you are helping in energy conservation, and we all need it as a nation. You are helping fire service to help reduce these fires from occurring in our market or whichever environment we find ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam. And for those at home, you've not forgotten, you can join the conversation and share your thoughts. If you've seen our officers on the grounds and you've observed some good things and you want to say some positive things to them, we'll be glad to listen to it. You can reach us on 059 507 8119. I repeat the number again, 0595 078 119. Share your experience with us. Share what you've seen, or what you think of the initiative, and then we'll be glad. I'm receiving information that we have an officer on the scene at the fire scene at Tantra Hill. We are trying to connect with him, and that's when we do, we'll engage him for him to share with us how dexterous our officers are working hard to make sure that the situation is brought under control. Diaka, being a part of management and having engaged with the public, how do you rate based on the perception of the public and being also, so I think we'll be seeing videos of the fire from Tantra Hill on our screen, and that is what is happening right now at Tantra Hill. It's a very precarious situation that we are dealing with, and we trust our officers to put the fire under control. As I've always said, no fire is bigger than the officers of the Ghana National Fire Service. Our colleague Edio Opoku is at the scene, and we'll be talking to him very shortly to get a better understanding of the situation on the grounds and how well we are working hard to make sure that the situation is nipped in the bud. So what we are seeing is scenes from Tantra Hill, where our officers are doing well to make sure that this raging fire is put under control. And obviously, when fires happen, there will be some damage. But then our utmost priority is to make sure that the extent of damage is minimized to the barest minimum. If you are watching us and you are close to the fire scene, I would advise that don't go too close to the fire. But if you've observed our officers working, you can equally call us on our line 059 507 8119. Share your experience. You've seen firefighters working. You've seen firefighters patrolling the markets. Share your experience with us. Let us know what you make of what we're doing. And then if you want to say, are you cool? We'll be glad to take you, are you cool? And to spur us on to do more. Edio Opoku should be joining us. We'll continue the conversation.
Yeah, good afternoon. Eddie Oken.
Yes, sir. Today you are doing the happening now, and I'm doing happening in studio.
Exactly.
What is the situation? What's a big issue? What's involved in the fire?
All right. So we welcome our followers joining us live on Fire Service TV. So currently we are at Tantra Hill, just closer to the Lancaster University.
Okay.
And what we are having here is a fire outbreak consisting of multiple buildings, stores used for commercial purposes.
Wow.
And for household, or should we say domestic.
Wow.
So currently, if I am counting the number of stores, we have about 20 of them, a
Wow.
car, and uncompleted buildings too. We have about 3 of them.
Wow.
And there are some other houses. So currently, the base form here was Abelempe Fire Station, headquarters Quebec 5. That is the water tanker also dispatched. And we have Medina 2 currently at base. So Medina is here and I learned headquarters Quebec forward to dispatch them there too. So we are waiting for pumps, but currently we have 2 pumps here.
Wow.
Fighting the fire and it's well alight.
Wow. Do you think the fire is being confined, or we are still seeing the fire?
We are so struggling to confine it.
So it means that the fire is still spreading.
It's still spreading, moving to other buildings here. So what we are trying to do now, currently Medina has just arrived. So Medina has been positioned at a particular point so that the fire will not spread to mansion. There is a mansion that I can see from where I am standing. So Medina is trying to prevent the fire from spreading to the mansion there.
Wow. Wow.
So what I can confirm to Agua is that we are trying to confine the fire. We've not been able to confine it now.
Have you seen some of the owners of these properties around?
That's what we are trying to contact them, but they are all in a mood of sadness and they are crying. So trying to get them. Let me see. I'll try and get someone. I'll try and get someone. Then we'll do it in the local dialect because the person is said that she can't speak the English. So let me try and speak to them and try and see. Madam, so boss, what the be? Me pacho, who fire service TV? Then the Jan started.
Okay, maybe we'll feel me who say a Jano assume, but the actual cause of the fire, they mix nature. You know, enough that's what I say. You try to say, but do not, yet to me, I'm a big crowd, be sure what a tank I started and say to me until Safan has spread a bit to her say. Now, I am a dear idea on my yawa. Okay, hey, be a bar, and I'm for the tenant and comfort, I say. What the account be? Every medium account. Let me feel what I say. Yes, I say, I don't survive the woods to confirm. Yeah, the military confirm it, but I mean, what happened?
I was with them about it, I will browse, no way, first house, small container with the venue. Before you go fresh water, then you catch another container. Before you catch some small, this one, a big away water there is away with proper. Where the ambulance can go, it can't stand the first ambulance. It can't stand there, sir. Where they only pour water for this side. You know they look for this side. Where the second ambulance can now the fire come down small. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. Ambulance 2 or the second ambulance.
All right. Anyway, okay.
Yes,
let
sir.
me try to sum up what they are saying. According to the guy, they were all inside a pub. It's a drinking spot. They were there and they realized that there was a container that has started. They saw a smoke emanating from the container. By the time they realized the fire has gotten out of hands before they call fire service. So it started from a particular container which is behind the drinking spot. But as to what started the fire, they cannot confirm it for us.
Wow. So what's the general reception of the people towards our offices? Is it
Well, as usual, the normal communication we got here? I'm free and we don't need you here. Then you waited for the fire to start. But sometimes they don't know our protocols. They don't know what we went through because I followed the water tanker from headquarters and I can just give you the proof of what happened. But when we were on the way coming, even cars allowing us to have a free flow through the traffic, they were not allowing us. So at a point, some of the officers need to get down from the appliance, go to the traffic light, ask them to move before we came. So it wasn't easy. So the reception here, as usual, isn't that tasteful. They are giving the negative comments as usual. Some of the comments we have been receiving every day. So that is the normal thing that we have here. So anyway, I cannot confirm to our viewers that we have headquarters, Quebec forward here, and Medina 2 is here. So 4 appliances here right now, trying to fight the fire and contain it from spreading.
do you think more fire tenders are needed, or the 4 will be enough to tackle the fire?
Oh, we need about 2 or 3 more.
Wow.
We need about, because from where I am standing, the fire keeps on spreading, moving to other buildings. So we have to do our best and get more appliances here to fight the fire.
Okay. But I hope there's not been any physical attack on any officer at the scene.
No, I've not seen any police officer here, but the schools around, I've seen their security personnel there trying to help us do everything, but there has not been any physical attack here.
Thank you very much, Eddie Opoku, and please stay safe. And then in the face of please stay safe in the face of the agitation. In the face of the agitation that we are facing, I'm hoping that you stay safe, and then you let them understand that it's important that they get. It's important that as a community they put pressure, or if pressure might be too strong, but they add their voices for calls that they need a fire station within Achimota, so that in the future, when something like this happens, our response time will be much more shorter.
So okay, that has been the communication, because look at where Abelempi came from and where from headquarters came from. We were on the road for close to 15 to 17 minutes. So this is what we've been preaching, and we've been talking to those big men we have in our country, that they should help us so that we get the fire stations around and the appliance too.
Thank you very much, Eddie Opoku. And for the benefit of those who are watching, we are committed. We are our director operations is very proactive, and she's a listening director. She's putting measures in place to make sure that more fire tenders are channeled to the place to make sure that we're able to contain the situation. Eddie Opoku, thank you very much, and may God keep you safe. Thank you so much.
Always welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Madam, this wasn't planned, but it's part of the show. What, in wrapping up our conversation, we've long overspent our time, but in wrapping up our conversation, the market fires. How do you, so it's a double-barreled question. So if you were to rate over 100, how do you rate it, and what do you think can be done to improve upon it?
I think a lot has to do with the individuals. For instance, we went to one of the markets, and around 11:30 p.m., someone has set fire to be roasting, drying fish. So I wanted to know from him why this ungodly hour. And when you look at the person doing that, he's even an aged man. So you ask yourself, should something happens, how can this person escape? Because he can't even walk very well. So if such behaviors are not changed, the fire service will be doing the education, but the person who has to implement it on grounds or to stop such practices are not doing that. There is little we can do. Again, those doing, is it the attire tea?
Attire.
Yes, attire tea. They have smaller coal pots, and sometimes when you look at where these coal pots are, it is not friendly. Because of that small tea they want to take, then the unwanted happens. So can't we prepare this tea, put them in flasks, and carry it to the market with us, so that if we want to take the tea, then you just pour it from the flasks and drink it. You are not supposed to use coal pots. And most of these people are also in the jute and rubber products. So such behaviors, it behoves on the individual to stop after you have been given the needed education. Because fire service has a role to play. You, the individual in the market space or your shop, you also have a role to play. But if I am playing my part, I am taking the thing from you, and you are still bringing it, then it becomes difficult. So we are appealing to the people concerned, the markets, especially the markets that are not gated. The smokers, people sit in people's stalls, smoke and just leave the piece there. You don't care where you throw it. Most of these structures too, they are not even hardwood. They are the wawa wood. They are the cyber wood. How strong are they? Some are using the plywood. Some have used wawa boards that are old. Please, let us desist from such practices of sending naked fire to the marketplace, sending matches to the fireplace. If you are operating a chopper, go and see the authorities. Let us speak to fire service. We'll give you the type of construction that befits that business. It is not every business that can be done anyway. Depending on the business you are doing, calls for a particular structure or building to be used. Come, let us discuss it so that we can move forward as a nation. But you would go and take the loans to establish businesses, and tomorrow your own activities would bring you to zero. You have children in school. What becomes their future tomorrow if you don't have the money to take care of them? At the end of the day, the whole nation suffers. Please come, let us reason together. Then we can make a headway. Then we can push our nation forward to where we want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's the speech or the appeal by a mother who is a director who sympathizes or empathizes with people, who are, who we as a service are working hard to protect. Madam, thank you very much for your profound words.
You're welcome.
Diaka, you have the last word. Being the mediator between the service and the public, rate the success of this, and then moving forward, what you think can be done to improve it.
Well, thank you so much. I believe that per what we have been able to do from January, since the inception of the rollout of this initiative, I think the impact has been fruitful. Had it not been the patrols and the intensified surveillance within our market, Kumasi KJT, which have been gutted in recent times, I think about twice or so, the devastation could have been dire. And through these patrols, we were able to avert a similar situation, even the recently gutted Techiman fire. So by and large, I think the initiative has led to some successes, and we believe that with our intensified efforts, we'll be able to minimize the damage caused to wares and property, especially when these market fires break out. But I would also want to maintain going forward that we have to be able to intensify our efforts in trying to engage in with the Ghanaian populace. Once we are able to reach out to them, let them understand some of the things they do that create these fire situations, so that they can come to terms with what we do and what is expected of them. That is where we'll be able to find a fair balance between us making a lot of inroads in preventing not just the market fires, but also other types of fires. Once we are able to do that, now it appears that we are appealing. We are appealing because we have a lot to do. We have a lot to kind of give you. That is why we are appealing. But the time is going to come where we will not appeal. When we have successfully educated you enough, having brought you to speed as far as fire prevention is concerned, then we will not appeal again, because behaviors must change, attitudes must change, and it behoves on us to do that. That is why now, in recent times and probably some few years to come, we would appeal to you. But a time is going to come where we are not going to appeal, but we are going to enforce the laws, having come to terms that we've educated you enough. So I would like to end on the fact that fire safety, fire prevention, continuously is a shared responsibility. It is not just our responsibility as a regulator to ensure that we educate you and then help you to prevent fires, but also you have a role to play. You have a role to ensure that you are having adequate fire safety measures on your premises. And then also, when there is any fire emergency or related emergency, based on what you have been educated on, you react and react positively to minimize the impact that otherwise the fire may cause, so as to be able to help us to be able to help you. Once that is done, that is where we'll be able to prevent these fires. And we know going forward, you are going to help us so that we can, once we educate you, you also be able to implement what we have taught you so as to prevent these fires. Because when the fires do not occur and we are all safe, I mean, it is good for us and it helps our country to also develop. We are never happy. So please make sure you keep the safety tips, you keep the preventative measures that we're giving you to work. Once you keep them to work, if there is anything, just contact us and we'll be free to also come around to help you to kind of put your house in order. Once we do that, I think the fires will be nipped in the bud.
Thank you very much. Once I have the two big people talk, what can I say? It's over. It's finished, as Jesus said. So thank you very much for your insightful submission. To all our viewers that joined us, both online and at home watching us, or wherever you find yourself watching us on TV, thank you for making the time. We always make sure that we come up with programs that would inform and then help to keep you safe. My name is Eddie Ogun Alex Kengnati, and this has been Fire Service in Focus on the Fire Service TV. Thank you very much and join us again next week, Monday. Have a blessed day.
Hello, please, good morning. Is it a fire service station? Yes, please. How may I help you? No, now I go shower when you feel Hey, it's a fire campaign going on, cause too much fire outbreaks in our town. Brother, sister, if you wanna live so long, open up your ears and listen as we preach on. A son of fire service, Betty Aboyeno, Ejemin Kabuniwara. Acha shiamo nofo, tuweni yojo banko chofo pepe sewara. Benye kayo tema abo, Good Friday, Benia de Sancho Akela. Tema Newtown Circle, Lona, Kwete Kleminaka de Sangana. Kumasi Central Market, Atomic Junction, Wajan Nanko, ni Mutani na Mutua. Tema Central Medical Source Yakoni, Wanga Yazampo Yabakoa. Ashima Nyango Megadanu, Lashiama Namidanu, Lashiama, Ashiama Jolaga. Illegal connection taking place in our homes is a major factor of fire outbreak. Prolonged using of appliance is a major factor of fire outbreak. So it's a fire service. Oja, oja.